Title: The Forgotten Room. I've always been the type of person who enjoys a bit of peace and quiet. I've never been into flashy places or big crowds, which is why I moved to the small town I'm living in now. The apartment I rented is in an old, creaky building on the outskirts of town. It's not much, but it's perfect for me. The rent's cheap, the landlord's nice, and I get to live in a quiet place away from the hustle and bustle of the city. I've been living here for about 3 months now, and I've never really had any problems. The building is old, sure, but it's got character. And I like that. There's something comforting about creaky floors and the sound of the wind through the thin walls. The only thing that ever bothered me was the door at the end of the hallway on the top floor. I don't know why I noticed it at first. The building has several doors in the hallway, leading to other apartments, but this one stood out. It was at the very end, tucked away in a corner. It was an old wooden door, with peeling paint and an iron handle that looked like it hadn't been used in years. The thing is, it was always locked. I asked the landlord about it once, a few weeks after I moved in, when I happened to see him in the hallway. "Hey, what's behind that door on the top floor?" I asked casually. "The one at the end of the hall." His face twitched, just for a second, like I'd caught him off guard. "That," he said, his voice a little too steady. "That door's been locked for as long as I've been managing the building. It's just a storage room or something from when the building was first built. Nothing special." I wasn't satisfied with his answer, but I let it go. After all, it wasn't like it was hurting anyone. But then, one night, about a month ago, something happened. I was coming home late from work, around 2 a.m. I don't usually stay out that late, but I had been helping a friend move, and I was exhausted. I wasn't paying much attention as I walked up the stairs to my floor, too tired to think about anything except sleep. But as I passed by the top floor, I noticed something. The door at the end of the hall was ajar. I froze in my tracks. It wasn't wide open, but just enough for me to see the faint glow of light from inside. There was no reason the door should have been open. It had been locked the last time I checked. The landlord had even said so. So why was it open now? My heart began to race as I slowly walked toward it, not sure what I was expecting to find. Maybe a maintenance worker, or someone else from the building, doing repairs. But as I neared the door, I heard something that made my blood run cold, the sound of whispering. At first, it was so faint that I thought I had imagined it. But no, there it was again, just barely audible, like voices speaking in hushed tones from inside the room. I stood there for a moment, staring at the door. The whispering grew louder, almost frantic now. It was so strange, intimate, like people were having a conversation, but the words were distorted, slipping in and out of clarity. And then, as if the room had noticed me standing there, the whispering suddenly stopped. I don't know what came over me, but I pushed the door open. I had to see what was inside. The room was dark. I couldn't make out much, but I could see enough to know that it wasn't some ordinary storage room. The air inside felt stale, like it hadn't been disturbed in years. The light I had seen was coming from a small lamp in the far corner, flickering like it was about to go out. I took a step inside, but something made me pause. There was something off about the room. Something wrong. The floorboards creaked beneath me, and I could hear my breathing getting louder. That's when I noticed it. On the far wall, there was a framed picture hanging crookedly. It wasn't a painting or a photo, though. It was a collection of strange symbols, drawn in what looked like charcoal or ink, arranged in a pattern I couldn't understand. They were twisted and intricate, like some kind of ritualistic symbols, not anything I had ever seen before. I felt a chill run through me as I moved closer to the wall, staring at the symbols. There was something unsettling about them, like they were alive, almost as if they were shifting ever so slightly when I wasn't looking directly at them. And then I heard it again. The whispering. But this time, it was louder. Clearer. I spun around, but there was no one in the room. I was alone. The door had crept shut behind me, and I felt the overwhelming urge to leave. Now. I turned to leave, but as I did, I caught a glimpse of something in the corner of the room. There, in the shadows, was a figure. I couldn't make out its features at first, but as I squinted, I saw it clearly, a tall, thin shape with long arms and a face that was a blur, like it was constantly shifting in and out of focus. It didn't move, just stood there, staring at me. I stumbled backward, my heart pounding in my chest, and finally pushed the door open wide enough to escape. I ran down the stairs, not stopping until I was safely inside my apartment. I didn't sleep that night. I couldn't. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the figure standing in that room, its distorted face staring at me with eyes that were hollow, unblinking. The next morning, I told myself it had been a bad dream, just my imagination playing tricks on me in the dark. But when I checked the hallway again, the door was still ajar. I haven't been able to go back up there. Every time I pass that hallway, I get a cold feeling in the pit of my stomach. I even asked the landlord about it again, but he just shrugged it off. "You're imagining things," he said. "The room's always been empty. But I know what I saw." And every night, when I hear the faint whispering from the floor above, I can't help but wonder what's really behind that door. Whatever it is, I don't think it's ever going to let me forget. Please like and follow.